Hello friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Mayank Soni and I am a software developer. So today we'll be talking about GitHub Actions. So what is GitHub Actions? It is just another tool to automate your manual task. Like being a developer, you might have to do a lot of manual tasks like testing. Whenever you add a feature, you have to do some testing, or whenever there is a release of your product or the release of your service, you might need to test it. So using GitHub Actions, you can automate that. You might need to scan vulnerabilities from time to time, so you can integrate those scans here via GitHub Actions. So whatever task or workflow that you have, you can add it directly to GitHub. So if we check the features of GitHub Actions, these are: first of all, automated testing, like what we have to do whenever we change anything in our code. So it's a very tedious task to do, and during release we might need to test a lot of things simultaneously. So it's better to automate it, and we can easily do that directly on GitHub. No need to have any third-party tool for that. Another thing is scanning vulnerabilities. These days we knew that there are a lot of applications that do the scanning, but we need that integration to do with our Jenkins server or any other CI/CD tool. For that, we can use GitHub Actions as well. Just integrate your scanning tool here, and with every release or with every build, you can scan your source code as well as the dependencies, the libraries that you got there, and you will get the scanning report instantly. Another task that we can automate is running cron jobs. So what is cron job? The job that we have to do at a certain amount of time in regularly. Like on every Sunday I need to scan my source code, or during the midnight I need to do the build because the load is less. So you can schedule those things using the cron jobs. So GitHub Actions will take care of it for you. Building and deploying services as well as cloud integration. So whenever you have to build your source code, you need a tool. Either you can do that locally, or you might be using some other build management tools, but you can use GitHub Actions for building as well as to deploying it on cloud like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. So you can integrate both these things easily. So what is a workflow? A workflow is basically a YAML configuration file in which you mention your steps which you need to follow to automate that task. For example, if you want to automate the testing for purpose, then you can say that check out the code and do such and such test, or run these files to run the test cases. And then in the end, you can mention to generate a report. I can divide the workflow majorly into three parts. First is event, like when to start the workflow. That can be when a cron job is running. For example, at 9 a.m. in morning, I want to run it, or whenever a pull request is created, or whenever something new is pushed into my any branch like release or master branch. At that time I can trigger. The second one is configuration. Like after mentioning the event, you will mention the configuration. What do you need to run your automation? For example, you might need specific operating system, OS, to run your automation, or you might need certain environment variables to be set before running the automation. So you can do that using this configuration part, or any dependencies you have for your product to run the automation, then you can set it up as for this part. And the third is job steps. So that might vary according to the requirement. Sometimes you are building something, then you need the artifacts to be uploaded back, the build which is generated as a zip file or any other output, you might need that back. Or sometimes if you are building a Docker image, you might need that to push into your Docker Hub registry. Okay, let's see this in action. So here I have created a GitHub Action repository, and now I will show you the basic Python file which I have. Here I am importing the request module because I need to make a GET request, a simple print statement, and then here I am calling the method code, and in this method basically I am defining a URL which will give a response of code and writer and a basic JSON response. Okay, from this one I will print the response code, and I will convert the response into JSON object and then return the content only. Okay, so this print statement will just print the motivation code. Okay, now if I go back to my requirements.txt, so this just contains request module because I need that in my Python file. Okay, and readme is blank. Okay, now we can move to add the workflow. So here I will click on this actions button, and then it does have some predefined templates like creating a Python package or publishing a Python package. If you have a Django project, you can directly use this one, or a Python application pylint. So I won't go into this much detail. Why? Because we are going for a simple one. We are going to have a hands-on experience, so we'll create it from scratch, and it's just a basic one, so you will be able to explore it on your own. Okay, so I'll go with skip this and set up a workflow. Okay, so here is our main workflow. You can edit the name if you want, like code.yaml or workflow.yaml. Okay, then I'll click here documentation. So here this is showing us the first part, like when to trigger the workflow. Whenever there is a push in the main branch or the release branch, whenever there is a pull request created from main branch, or on a schedule. So since it is a code, like I would like to get motivated daily at 9 a.m. So I'll copy this and I will paste it here. Okay, if I hover over this one, it will show that runs at 02 hours UTC on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. Actions on schedules run at most every 5 minutes. Okay, so let's see what the first line means. So first of all, this is in UTC time zone. If you need to set it for IST, then you don't need to mention 9 a.m. but you need to reduce 5 hours 30 minutes from that. So this will be 30 minutes, so 3 past 30, and then Monday to Friday. Okay, and then the second line here says the action schedules run at most every 5 minutes. So this means the frequency cannot be lower than 5 minutes. If you want to run it again and again, then you have to at least wait for 5 minutes if you are running a cron job. But if you are running it manually, you can do it. Okay, so this is how we can start it with the cron job. Okay, on the other hand, if you want to run the workflow manually, you can use workflow dispatch. Okay, so I'll copy this one as well, because I will try to run it manually as well for testing purpose. So I'll add it here on workflow dispatch. Then comes the job and the name. So here I'll copy this and I'll explain that in a bit. I think yeah, we have forgotten the name of the workflow. Okay, so what is this jobs? So jobs contain the steps that you want to run. Okay, so if there is a building part in your workflow, you can consider that as a single job, and then if there is a deploying part, you can consider that as a second job. Okay, so you can combine your steps as part of a job. Okay, here this is my job and I can name it as run script. Okay, then deploying to staging instead of this, daily code. You can put any name that you want. Try to make it as relevant to your workflow as possible, and then runs on Ubuntu 18.04. So what is this? So this is a runner. So what is a runner? Basically, GitHub is going to use a machine with this particular operating system to run your job. Okay, so suppose the environment needed for your workflow to run, if it is Linux, you can use Ubuntu. If you want Windows, you can use that as well. Here I think on documentation they must have mentioned, yeah, so we have Ubuntu latest, Windows latest, macOS latest, all. So now since I defined the environment, I will write down the steps which I need. Okay, so first of all I'll write the steps here, and then I will in the marketplace. So what is a marketplace? A marketplace basically contains the predefined actions, so you do not have to write them from scratch. Okay, since I need to check out my source code, I will search checkout here. Okay, and here I got it by actions. I'll click on this one and see if it is relevant for me or not. Okay, so here it is showing as actions/checkout at the rate this version. Okay, so they might be keep on updating it. I'm going with the latest one. Okay, it is showing that you can copy and paste this following snippet into your YAML file. I'll copy just this one and I'll let you know why. Here we will make the indentation proper. The name and usage should be aligned. Okay, so whenever we are using a predefined action, we use this keyword uses, and here it will be the creator's name. Like this action, this particular checkout action is created by an owner, actions, and that's the name of the action, and at the rate the version. I know it's too many actions, but yeah. Okay, what are these other options that we have? So here it will show, if we go through the token, the SSH key, and the things we need to check out from that particular repository. Okay, since this is our own workflow, and this is our own repository. We don't need all these options. We can skip them and we can just use name and uses. Okay, now I need Python in my setup, so I'll go back to marketplace and then I will search for setup Python. Here it is, I have found one. Okay, so as you can see, it is showing the name and uses. Okay, here also I'll copy only these two things and we'll see what happens. Okay, here there is in the parameters that we can provide, there is a Python version file, Python version basically. So here you might need to use this one, because when you have locally tested your code, you might have tested it with a particular Python version. Okay, so if you want that exact version to be present here, you can directly come here and choose that. Okay, so how to put the values here? Here I'm going to put 3.10. Okay, so this will set up our Python version. The other options that we can see here is architecture, target architecture of the Python or pipeline interpreter, and then we can check the latest one and so on. Okay, now after this one, I need to install the dependencies. Remember in the beginning I have mentioned that there's a requirements.txt file, so I might need to install the required dependencies, whatever is present in that file. For us it's simple, we have just mentioned the request module, but for you it might be some n number of dependencies, so you might need to install that before running the automation. So here I will use the run command, and I'll mention what is the run command and why I'm using it. Okay, so if you have a predefined action, in that case you will use this keyword uses, and if you are writing a shell script or a shell keyword, in that case you can directly use run. So it will run this command as a shell command inside this operating system. If it is Windows, you might have to go with the bat commands. Okay, installing requirements. So for this step I will name it install dependencies. Okay, and then I will put run as pip install -r requirements.txt. Okay, so why I have done this way now? Okay, because this particular command might not be available in the marketplace, or I don't want to search it. So just to show you both the examples, we can have the predefined actions in this manner, as well as we can run our own commands like this. Okay, so after installing the dependencies, I will run my script. So I will name this one as running script and run Python 3. Sorry. Our file name is hello.py, and I will put the output in a file called artifact.txt. Okay, why I am doing so? Because I need that txt file back to my GitHub so that I can view it. Okay, now I need a predefined method, predefined action just to upload the artifacts. So I will check for upload artifacts. So here it says upload a git build artifact. Okay, now if I check it, it is showing as actions. I'll copy this one. I'm copying it as whole. I'll let you know why. Okay, correct the indentation and then name. So what is the name of this artifacts, or what should be the name that I need that? Okay, I'll put that as a code. And path I will put as the file name, so that is in the current folder just artifact.txt. so this is the same file name that we have mentioned here. Okay, and then here we have if no files found, then what to do. You can put that as warning, error, or ignore. Means if you put that as warning, it will just throw a warning in the end. If you put that as error, then it will fail the action, which means it will fail the workflow. Okay, so if you are like the requirement is the major thing to upload the artifact, then you can put that as error. And if you want to ignore, you can completely ignore that. Okay, and the next part here is retention days. Okay, so after generating the artifacts, like how many days you want it to be retained. I'll delete these for our video. Okay, and as part of retention days, I'll put as 1. Okay, so retain it for 1 day and then it can be deleted. Okay, now this one seems to be completed. Now I'll start the commit. I'll commit directly to my main branch because this is a basic workflow and this repository does not contain anything. But if you're trying sometimes something in your project workflow, then just try to create a GitHub branch and then run the workflow. And here I'll go to actions. Okay, I can find that quote workflow is present. This workflow has a workflow dispatch event trigger. Just because it has this one workflow dispatch event trigger, I can run my workflow manually, else I would have to wait for 9 AM tomorrow. I have clicked on run workflow. Now it will trigger. Okay, manually run by me. Here if I click on this is the job. Okay, so if you have multiple jobs, it will show here that this one is first and then other one lying ahead. Okay, this is completed. So if I check here, it will set up the code. So this is our checkout steps. You can check the logs here, then set up Python, then running this is just the shell step that we have mentioned. Then to install the dependencies, it has run the request module. Then it ran the script python 3 hello.py, and then it has uploaded the artifact. Okay, artifact code has been successfully uploaded. Now if you want to check the artifact, click on summary here, and this is your artifact. If you click on this one, it will be downloaded, and if you extend, and I'll open and share it with you. Okay, so as you can see, this is the text file that I got from that zip file, code.zip, that I have downloaded, and here it has the output that we got. First the print statement, hello GitHub Actions, and then the response code, and in the end our code is here. Always do your best. What you plant now, you will harvest later. Okay, so if just giving a suggestion that if you want to expand this particular project further, you can send this daily motivation code to your Telegram API group, or you can you can use Twitter API to daily tweet a code from your end. So this project can be expanded further. Okay, if you like this video, please click on the like button and subscribe. Thank you.